Hi everyone, Tim from Key Computers here, and this is going to be the final video I do on the big computer build that I did. Customer's already picked it up. He's really happy with it, and in the end we managed to get all the problems sorted that I'll go over, but just wanted to give my thoughts on the bits that were used in it. And I'll just start with the case. I thought the case was pretty good, had plenty of room for everything. The only problem I had with the Antec C8 was he had an EATX motherboard and it sat right on top of the little the rubber little rubber places where your cables go in, which meant all the cables were sticking into the area where I needed to put the liquid cooler. I think if you had a different motherboard, maybe that wouldn't have been an issue. But yeah, in the end, maybe if the case was a little bit longer for the EATX size, probably wouldn't have been a problem. But yeah, just something to think of when you're using the C8, that with the EATX board you might have some problems with cables. The motherboard, the MSI Godlike X870E, I thought it had some features that were really nice, like the metal backplate was good. It just kept the board really rigid, helped cool it really nice. All the NVMe slots had this little spring load clip, so you just push down, it flick across and lock in. It's probably the best clip-in system I've seen on an NVMe SSD out of all the ones I've seen. There's ones where you spin the little thing and it locks it on, and other ones it's just a screw. But this one's really easy to use, and when you wanted to take it out, you just push it across and away you go. The other one I really liked was the GPU lock. So instead of, that really hard to get tongue, you got to push to release your graphics card once you've got the screws out, of course. This system, you have a push button that opens it, put your card in, release it, it locks it in. I'd love to see that on every motherboard. I think that's fantastic, really good. The LCD screen, of course, had the boot indicators, so I really like that on motherboards, so you can see if something isn't working on boot, and you can track it. So you can go, CPU, RAM, okay. So that's good. What I didn't like about that part of it was that whole screen was held on with magnets, and it was kind of flimsy, and when you're trying to plug in a USB on the side of it, which it has a USB on it and some other stuff, it was moving. It felt like I couldn't put pressure on it. I thought I was going to break it. And as a result, one of the fans didn't work because I hadn't got it on properly. So yeah, I personally didn't like it. I think it's unnecessary. It shows a lot of information and other stuff, but I think a lot of that stuff you could get through Windows and everything without having it on the screen in the case. But it looks cool, and I think that's the main thing, people are going for it. Having the cables all connecting on the right side, I think that is a good thing. But in the case that we had, the C8, like you saw, we had problems with it getting in the way of the the liquid cooler. So in the right case, I reckon would be really, really good. But yeah, you'd have to go a pretty big case, I think, for it not to get in the way. Moving on to the fans, the uni fans, LCD SL 120s, wireless. The things I thought they were very, very quiet, and I like that. I hate fan noise. It's one of my pet hates. I hate fan noise. So fans that are quiet, under load, really good. They felt solid, well built. I love the daisy chain idea, which minimises cables coming off every single fan. And so you just have one chain of fans with one cable coming off of it. I think that's really good. And some of the lighting effects it had were pretty cool. But on the downside, it needs a PWM cable and a USB 2 cable connected. PWM, not a big deal. You can just use a SATA cable that splits it into 3. It's the USB 2 requirement. Not every motherboard has a lot of USB 2 headers on the board, so you may run into problems if you can't figure out how to hook it up with a hub of some sort. In this case of this build, the power supply he chose, the Lee 1300 watt, had a USB hub on it for USB 2 headers. It's almost like Lee knew this was going to be an issue and made a power supply that does that. But yeah, just something to be aware of. So the more fan connections you have, you got to have a USB 2 header for it. When I first hooked them all up, they all had to do firmware updates for the LCD and screens, and I had a lot of problems with it updating. It kept dropping out and not doing it. I don't know if that's other people have had that problem, but I was having that trouble. But I'd have to unsync them, resync them, turn off the computer completely, turn it back on. Eventually it would do it. But then I'd have problems with the screens dropping in and out, particularly on the liquid cooler head. It just kept dropping in and out, and then I did some research online, found out update the chipset driver, which I'd already done anyway, but I did it again, and then suddenly everything just works. And it just seems odd that the chipset driver somehow is getting messed around with by the Lee software. So not sure if that's something Lee's working on or what, but just something I came across. I think that's it for the fans. My opinion on the fans, I wouldn't buy them myself. I'd probably go for a different brand, mainly because I've had Lee fans before, not the ones that he had, but just normal SL 120s. Had troubles with the LEDs not working. Oh yeah, that reminds me, one of the LEDs on his fans was faulty out of the box. It just was stuck on red. And considering the money you're paying, it's a little bit disappointing. Power supply, we'll move on to that. Power supply I thought was great. I think it was very quiet, under load. The connectors in the L plate works really well in a dual chamber case. I'm tempted to get one for myself. I think that was a good product. So yeah, fans, no. Lee power supply, yeah. Lee case, yeah. I've had Lee cases before, I love them. But it just seems to be something about the fans. I don't know what it is. But I've always had troubles with them. The graphics card, the Supreme Liquid, I can't complain. It just worked. It had really quiet fans under load. Temperatures were sitting around 60, low 60s under full load. Yeah, I think they're fantastic. It's just like the $6,000 price tag. I can't afford that kind of thing, but it's pretty sweet. And yeah, at the end of it, we did a benchmark on the superposition benchmark from Unigen, and he got a 30,440 score. When we looked it up online, it was like just outside of 30th in the world. So when he saw that, the customer was like, yeah, that's pretty good. I've been in contact with him afterwards, and he's very happy with the machine. And yeah, that's it. That's my take on that build and the products that were in it. Purely my opinion. I know some people will disagree with me. That's fine. Once again, I didn't buy any of that stuff. He chose it. I just built it. So if people that say, oh, you shouldn't have given him that, I didn't give it to him. He just went with it. It's what he wanted, and I just have to go with what he wanted. Anyway, I thought hopefully you found that interesting, and you might have learnt something. And I'll catch you on the next video. Have a great day.